All right, so is selling high ticket coaching programs really where the big bucks are? Stay tuned. I'm going to share with you some thoughts in this episode. All right, there's a lot of people that want to get into high ticket, high coaching, high dollar value products when it comes to their online business or space. And they wonder, hey, is this really where the big bucks are? Is this where I should be going? It really just depends. So in this episode, I'm going to share with you some thoughts. But again, keep in mind, my niche, my industry is a little different than maybe your niche, your industry, or what you're doing. So I want to give you some thoughts here. Here's my website. This is backstageincome.com, and then I have tradersfly.com. So they're kind of, you could say they look similar in that case, but the audience here is completely different. Here I'm dealing with investors. Here I'm dealing with people who are getting started in the business space. So when I'm dealing with investors, I do have a mentoring program. So this you could say is a higher ticket program. And this is where people get one-on-one sessions with me. And we're basically bulking up their one-on-one sessions. Now, you could see the program, it's basically $8,000. And they're working with me for about 3 to 6 months. Everybody's a little different depending on, hey, maybe some people are pregnant, some people need to take time off or vacation and so on. But in other words, in this program, they get a lot of value out of it from some of the courses that we have. We meet up, there's a lot of sessions, and you can see some of these students here as well in the video segment here on the interviews, how at the end of the day, I'm spending so much time with them one-on-one, some group sessions. It's kind of like a hybrid platform where they get some great value. Yes, the cost is higher, but their net cost overall, the amount they're paying on a per dollar figure is actually just as much, if not even cheaper, probably when you break it down on if you're buying single sessions. So, and that is just because we're meeting up so much more, right? So if you're doing single sessions here on the coaching side, you're basically looking at about, $295 a session or $895, or basically $175 per session here on the coaching front. So when you look at the mentoring program, which is right around $8,000, because the number of sessions is so much larger, it feels like the number or the dollar figure is just so much more. But the reality is the cost of it on a per session basis is maybe only about $120 per session. Plus you get like some courses, you get questions. I respond a lot quicker. It's just way more value for it. Now you might be wondering, well, do I need a high dollar, coaching program? And that depends. It depends on your niche and industry, because this is where people wonder, hey, is this where the big bucks are? But you got to look at it from a product pyramid of what's going on also in your industry. So you might have, let's say, in your scope, in your scale, like let's say I have a YouTube audience. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we've got like an audience. And let's say you have 100,000 people that are watching you every single month. Okay. Out of that, you might have another lower tier product. Let's say it's a book. Now, out of that book, maybe out of 100,000 people, let's say every month, maybe only 5,000 people buy your book. Again, that's still quite a bit, but this product now might be just a $5 product. Once you get into, let's say, a course, okay, so we've got a product pyramid. So let's say now you sell maybe 100 courses every single month, and this course might be $97. And then you have maybe a level 2 course. So this could be also a course, but this could be a little bit more expensive. So it's maybe $197, but only like 20 people buy. And then at the top, you might have more levels in here. At the top is where you have maybe your mentoring or higher ticket item. Now in between there, you might have some more like $997 items or $2,000. But this is where you might have a $5,000 item to a $10,000 item to a $50,000 item, depending on your niche, industry, and so on. But what you'll realize is that where you're starting from versus where you're going, you need a large amount of traffic to be able to make that happen. Unless you're dealing with, let's say you're just dealing with ads, well, it's got to hit maybe, let's say, 200,000 people to be able to get one of these, just simply because the law of the costs, it's kind of like starting soccer. When you look at little kids that start soccer, there might be, out of 10,000 of them, starting when they're 4 or 5 years old, you might get only 1,000 that actually continue 5-6 years later. And then out of that, maybe less than that as they continue to high school and so on. So with time, what you see is this progression, and this effect is no different when it comes to monetary value, that if the price is more expensive, there's just going to be less people that are interested in it. It's kind of like having a black belt, right? If you're trying to get a black belt in karate, you might have, let's say, 50,000 people that are starting at white belt, and then it just less and less people eventually get to a black belt. So you have a huge pool of beginners, and then they just continue to get less and less fewer of those higher upper belts because people don't stick around as long. So no difference here with high coaching, high ticket programs, is that, hey, they're out there and people do buy them. I will say some of the programs out there from the mentoring and coaching people I've talked to, yeah, some people do sell fluff out there, and you do have to be careful with what you're going to get. So you have to be able to trust that person, communicate with them. It might be wise to buy 1 or 2 coaching programs with them or communicate with them on the phone before you pull the trigger on the one-on-one mentoring or high ticket program. Sometimes those high ticket programs, they just throw you into a group, they progress and they try to automate it. And you get behind because, again, maybe your pace is a little different than what the program is all about. So you have to find a program that matches you and works out for you. But if you're looking to do one of these programs, be flexible with your audience. Understand what your audience needs. Understand what they're looking for. And that's really what you want to get to with these high ticket, high coaching, mentoring, these hybrid programs, is you really want to understand what your audience and customers are looking for. Because if you're able to help them out, you're able to give them even more or better value. And it's really just packaged up in one bulk kind of deal, then that's kind of another nice way of doing it. And they'd be happy to do it as long as you're willing to give them kind of a solution or path or direction, guidance to getting them to their end result. So anyways, I hope that helps, gives you some insight on these high ticket programs where, hey, they can be viable. They're really great to your bottom line when it comes to selling products online and working with people. But you really have to make sure that the product is good. You have to ensure that what you're doing, what you're delivering to your audience, to your customers, is fantastic and phenomenal, and they get a good deal and good value because they're spending good money with you. And it's just a way for you to have kind of a consistent client over the next 3 months that you're running your program, or 6 months or a year, whatever the length or term is for you. And that can just really pan out and work out really well. So anyways, thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, there's a lot of great freebies on our website. Just hit the link right down here. You can get some great checklists, PDFs, freebies, that kind of stuff, and even check out some of our video courses, ebooks, and those kinds of things. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next video, maybe in a live class or even a course. I'll see you next time.